All right, so you want to understand Ethereum, like really get under the hood. Well, you've come to the right place. Today, we're taking a deep dive into Ethereum with help from this CNBC International video. That explains exactly how it works. And get this, the whole thing was dreamed up by a 19-year-old. Yeah, you heard that right, a teenager. Talk about a visionary, huh?
It really is amazing to see how Ethereum has come into its own. It used to be kind of in Bitcoin's shadow, like the little brother trying to find his place, but now it's this major force in the crypto world, even rivaling Bitcoin in some ways.
So it's the classic underdog story,
Yeah,
from benchwarmer to MVP.
exactly. And a big part of that shift is Ethereum's role in all these groundbreaking innovations like DeFi, decentralized finance, and of course NFTs. Remember that digital artwork that sold for millions? Yeah, that was an NFT, powered by Ethereum.
Okay, so let's rewind a bit. Back to this 19-year-old who started it all.
So picture this. It's 2013, and you've got Vitalik Buterin, this teenager who's already a Bitcoin whiz kid. He co-founded Bitcoin Magazine, for crying out loud. And he starts to see the limitations of Bitcoin's tech. He's thinking, there's got to be a way to do more with this blockchain thing.
Hold on. He co-founded a magazine at 19. I was barely figuring out laundry back then. This guy was on another level.
Right. And the key difference here is Buterin didn't see Bitcoin as just a digital currency. He saw it as a platform where you could use blockchain for all sorts of applications. And that's where Ethereum comes in.
So if Bitcoin was like the first flip phone, revolutionary but limited, then Ethereum is like the smartphone.
Perfect analogy. Bitcoin proved the blockchain could work for secure transactions. But Ethereum took it further. It said, let's use this technology to build something completely new.
Okay, so what makes Ethereum so different? What gives it that extra oomph?
In a word, smart contracts. They're the heart of what makes Ethereum so powerful.
Smart contracts. That sounds pretty techy.
They're basically lines of code that automatically execute an agreement when certain conditions are met.
Okay, but give me an example, something I can wrap my head around.
Think of it like a digital vending machine. But instead of snacks, it dispenses anything digital. So you put in your input, it could be cryptocurrency data, even a specific action. And if the conditions in the code are met, boom, the smart contract spits out the agreed upon result.
So like if I wanted to pay my rent with crypto, I could set up a smart contract to automatically send the payment to my landlord on the first of every month.
Exactly. That's just one example. Imagine a world where all sorts of agreements, from renting apartments to buying concert tickets, are handled by these self-executing contracts.
That's mind-blowing. So if smart contracts are the engine, what are they actually powering? You mentioned something called dApps.
Right. dApps are basically applications built on Ethereum's blockchain, powered by those smart contracts we were just talking about.
So give me an example of a dApp.
Imagine a social media platform like Facebook. But instead of being owned by a corporation, it's owned and controlled by its users.
So we're talking about a decentralized internet.
Exactly. That's a big part of what makes Ethereum so compelling. The investment case isn't just about the cryptocurrency. It's about the potential of the entire platform.
Right, because when most people hear crypto, they just think about Bitcoin and its price going up and down.
But Ethereum is about something bigger. It's about investing in the future of a decentralized internet.
So in a way, investing in Ethereum is about supporting a whole new vision for the internet.
Exactly. And remember those two big trends we talked about? DeFi and NFTs. Well, they're both built on Ethereum, and they're attracting billions of dollars in investment.
All right, let's break those down. Starting with DeFi, it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It might sound futuristic, but the concept is actually pretty simple. DeFi is about taking traditional financial services, like lending, borrowing, trading, and putting them on the blockchain. You cut out the banks and other intermediaries.
So it's like peer-to-peer finance, powered by blockchain.
You got it.
Okay, but what about NFTs? I know they're huge in the art world, but I'm still a little fuzzy on what they actually are.
Think of them as digital collectibles that are unique and verifiable on the blockchain. Each NFT has a digital signature that proves its authenticity and ownership.
Right, like that first tweet from Jack Dorsey that sold for millions.
Exactly.
So Ethereum is powering these massive trends with billions of dollars flowing through DeFi and NFTs. That sounds like a pretty strong argument for its potential, but I'm guessing it's not all sunshine and roses, right?
You're right. Ethereum has had its fair share of challenges.
Okay, lay it on me. What kind of challenges are we talking about?
Well, early on, Ethereum had a major setback with something called the DAO hack. It involved a decentralized investment fund. And hackers exploited a vulnerability in the code, making off with millions of dollars worth of Ether.
Ouch. So security is a big concern.
Security is always a concern with crypto. especially with a platform as complex as Ethereum.
So beyond security, what are some of the other challenges Ethereum faces?
One of the biggest is volatility. Ether, the cryptocurrency of Ethereum, has seen some wild price swings.
So buckle up for the roller coaster ride, huh?
It's part of the game with crypto. But Ethereum also faces a unique challenge called the scalability problem.
Scalability problem. Break that down for me.
It means that as more and more people use Ethereum, the network gets congested, leading to higher transaction fees and slower transaction times.
So as Ethereum gets more popular, it becomes more expensive and slower to use.
That's the problem. And it's created an opening for what are being called Ethereum killers, new blockchains like Cardano and Solana that claim to be faster, cheaper, and more eco-friendly.
So it's a blockchain battle royale.
You could say that.
But Ethereum isn't just sitting back and letting the competition take over, right?
Oh, absolutely not. They're fighting back with a major upgrade called Ethereum 2.0.
Ethereum 2.0, that sounds like a major overhaul.
It is. One of the most significant changes is a shift to something called proof of stake.
Proof of stake. Okay, now you're just making up words.
It's a way to address one of the biggest criticisms of blockchain. It's energy consumption. Remember how we talked about Bitcoin miners? Using tons of computing power to secure the network? Well, that process is called proof of work, and it's incredibly energy intensive.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Crypto mining using enough electricity to power entire countries.
Exactly. Proof of stake is a more energy efficient alternative. Instead of miners competing to solve complex math problems, users stake their ether to become validators.
Stake their ether.
It means they lock up a portion of their ether as collateral to participate in verifying transactions. And for doing this, they earn rewards.
So instead of miners using tons of electricity, we have validators putting up their own ether as a guarantee.
Precisely. It's a different way of incentivizing good behavior,
Mm-hmm.
and it's much more energy efficient.
That's fascinating. So is this Ethereum 2.0 the silver bullet? Will it solve all of Ethereum's problems?
Well, like any major upgrade, there are potential downsides. Some people worry about centralization risks and whether it might make the network less secure. But it's definitely a big step forward for Ethereum.
So the future of Ethereum is still up in the air.
In some ways, yes. There are still challenges to overcome. But one thing is clear. This is a technology that's constantly evolving.
You're right. It's about the potential of the platform to reshape how we think about finance technology and the internet itself.
Exactly.
All right, so let's talk about that a little more. Can Ethereum really dethrone Bitcoin, or is there room for both at the top?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Bitcoin versus Ethereum.
Hmm.
But to really understand if one can dethrone the other, we need to recognize that they're fundamentally different.
So you're saying it's not an apples-to-apples comparative?
Exactly. Bitcoin, with its limited supply and focus on secure transactions, is often seen as digital gold, a store of value. Ethereum, on the other hand, with its smart contracts and programmable platform, is more like a decentralized world computer, a platform for innovation.
So it's like comparing a bar of gold to a smartphone.
Now you're getting it. They serve different purposes in the crypto world. Bitcoin is about scarcity and stability. Ethereum is about programmability and potential.
Okay, that makes sense. But even if they are different, aren't they still competing for attention?
Absolutely. There's definitely a rivalry. But it's a healthy competition. That benefits the entire crypto ecosystem.
So instead of one winning over the other, it's more about how they both shape the future of blockchain.
You nailed it. And let's not forget, there are countless other blockchains and crypto projects out there.
Wow. It's like a whole universe of possibilities.
Exactly. And that's what makes this field so exciting.
Okay, so stepping back for a second, what's the key takeaway here for someone who's just starting to learn about Ethereum?
The most important thing to understand is Ethereum is so much more than just a cryptocurrency. It's a platform that has the potential to fundamentally change things.
It's like investing in the picks and shovels during a gold rush, right?
Brilliant analogy. Investing in Ethereum is about investing in the infrastructure.
And to think, it all started with a 19-year-old.
It's a testament to the power of vision.
So where do we go from here? What does the future hold for Ethereum?
Well, the Ethereum 2.0 upgrade is a major milestone, but it's just one step in a much longer journey.
So it's not all smooth sailing ahead.
Definitely not. But that's what makes this field so dynamic.
All right, paint a picture for us. What are the key things to watch for in the coming years?
Well, from a technical perspective, successfully implementing Ethereum 2.0 and proof of stake is crucial. They need to show that it can deliver on its promises.
So no more outrageous gas fees.
That's the goal. They need to make the platform user-friendly.
Makes sense. What about the competition?
The Ethereum killers aren't going anywhere. There are constant pressure on Ethereum to keep innovating.
It's like a constant arms race.
You could say that.
Okay, so beyond the technical stuff, what about the bigger picture? How could Ethereum impact our lives in the coming years?
If the vision of a decentralized future comes true, Ethereum could play a major role in everything, from finance and governance to supply chain management and social media.
Wow, that's a lot to take in.
It's a radical shift in thinking.
Okay, so we've talked about Ethereum's origins, its technology, its challenges, and its potential. But there's one question I still have.
I'm all ears.
If Ethereum is all about decentralization, who's actually in charge?
That's the beauty of it. There's no single person or entity at the helm. It's governed by a global community of developers, users, and stakeholders.
Wait, so it's like a giant online democracy?
It's not exactly a traditional vote, but more like a consensus-driven process.
So it's more like an open source software project.
That's a good analogy. It's a truly collaborative effort.
That's pretty incredible when you think about it.
It really highlights the power of open source development. But this decentralized model also brings its own challenges.
What kind of challenges?
One of the biggest is achieving consensus. With so many different stakeholders involved, it can be difficult to get everyone on the same page.
So it's like herding cats.
You could say that. But it's important to remember that this decentralized approach is also what makes Ethereum so resilient. There's no single point of failure.
That makes sense. It's a trade-off.
Exact.
So it's like a living, breathing organism.
That's the perfect way to describe it.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get the picture. Ethereum is this decentralized platform powered by smart contracts, enabling all sorts of innovations like DeFi and NFTs. It's got its challenges, but it's also constantly evolving. And it's all driven by this passionate global community.
That's a great summary.
Well, thanks to you, I feel like I've learned a ton today. But here's the million-dollar question, or maybe the million ether question. What does this all mean for the average person?
That's the question we all want answered right. And while it's impossible to predict the future with certainty, here's what I can say. Ethereum has the potential to touch every aspect of our digital lives.
Give us some examples.
Imagine a world where you control your own financial data, where you can lend and borrow money without a bank, where you can invest in things with just a few clicks. Imagine a world where social media platforms are owned by their users, where content creators are rewarded directly for their work, and where censorship is virtually impossible. Imagine a world where supply chains are transparent, where voting systems are secure, and where governments are more accountable.
Wow, that's a lot to imagine.
It's definitely an ambitious vision, but that's the beauty of technology. It has the power to disrupt the status quo.
I love that. It's not just about the tech itself, it's about the possibilities.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that's why I'm so excited about Ethereum. It's not just a cryptocurrency, it's a movement.
Well said. I think you've given our listeners a lot to think about today.
It's been my pleasure.
So to wrap things up, what's the one big takeaway you want our listeners to remember about Ethereum?
If I had to sum it up in one sentence, I'd say this. Ethereum is a platform that's pushing the boundaries, and it has the potential to reshape the world as we know it.
That's a powerful statement, and a great place to leave it for today. Thanks again for joining us.
My pleasure.
And to all you deep divers out there, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking questions. The future of technology is in our hands. Let's build it together.
Yeah, it's a big question. Bitcoin versus Ethereum. Can one really dethrone the other? Well, it's important to remember that they're not really the same thing.
Not apples to apples.
Right. Bitcoin is all about scarcity and security. It's like digital gold, a store of value. Ethereum, on the other hand, is more about programmability and potential. It's like a decentralized world computer.
So more like comparing gold to a smartphone.
Exactly. They serve different purposes.
Okay, but even if they're different, aren't they still kind of competing?
Sure, there's a rivalry, but it's a healthy one. It pushes both platforms to innovate.
So it's less about one winning
Yeah.
and more about how they both shape the future of blockchain.
Exactly. And remember, it's not just a two-horse race. There are tons of other blockchains and crypto projects out there.
So many possibilities.
It's what makes this space so exciting.
Okay, so for someone who's new to this, what's the key takeaway about Ethereum?
The most important thing is, Ethereum is not just another cryptocurrency. It's a platform with the potential to change everything.
Like investing in the tools of a gold rush.
Perfect analogy.
Mm.
It's about the underlying technology.
And it all started with a teenager.
It's pretty incredible.
So what's next for Ethereum?
The Ethereum 2.0 upgrade is a big step, but it's just the beginning.
So challenges ahead.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But that's what keeps things interesting.
What should we be watching for?
From a technical standpoint, the success of Ethereum 2.0 and proof of stake is key.
No more crazy gas fees.
That's the hope. They need to make it user-friendly.
What about the competition?
They're not going away. They'll keep the pressure on Ethereum to innovate.
So it's an ongoing race.
You could say that.
Okay, but zooming out a bit, how could Ethereum impact our lives in the next few years?
If this vision of a decentralized future pans out, Ethereum could be a part of everything. Finance, governance, supply chains, social media.
Wow.
It's a pretty radical shift.
Yeah. So we've covered the origins, the tech, the challenges, the potential. But there's one thing I still wonder.
What's that?
If Ethereum is decentralized, who's actually in charge?
That's the beauty of it. No one person or organization is in control. It's governed by a global community.
So like a giant online democracy.
It's more like a consensus-driven process.
So kind of like an open source project.
Exactly. It's a collaborative effort.
That's amazing.
But it also comes with challenges.
Like what?
Reaching consensus can be tough, with so many people involved.
Like herding cats?
You could say that. But this decentralized approach also makes Ethereum resilient. There's no single point of failure.
It's a trade-off.
For sure.
So it's this evolving organism.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, so to recap, Ethereum is this decentralized platform with smart contracts enabling things like DeFi and NFTs. It has its challenges, but it's constantly evolving. And it's all driven by this global community.
You got it.
So what does it all mean for me? For the average person?
That's the question we all want to know. It's hard to predict the future. But Ethereum could touch every part of our digital lives.
Paint us a picture.
Imagine controlling your own financial data, lending and borrowing without banks, investing with a few clicks, social media owned by users, content creators rewarded directly, no censorship, transparent supply chains, secure voting, more accountable governments.
Sounds almost utopian.
It's a big vision, but technology has the power to disrupt.
It's not just about the tech, it's about what we can do with it.
Exactly. That's what excites me about Ethereum. It's a movement.
You've given us a lot to think about.
It's been my pleasure.
So to wrap up, what's the one thing you want listeners to remember about Ethereum?
Ethereum is more than just a cryptocurrency. It's a platform for innovation, a catalyst for change, a glimpse into a future where technology empowers us.
That's a powerful message and a great place to end this part of our deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
And to all our listeners, stay curious, keep exploring, and join us for the final part of this deep dive into Ethereum. So we've talked a lot about the theory behind Ethereum, but what does it actually look like in practice? How are people using it in everyday life?
That's a question I get a lot these days. As Ethereum starts to gain more mainstream traction, people want to see how it works in the real world.
Exactly. Because it's one thing to talk about smart contracts, but it's another thing to see them in action.
Right. So let's look at some concrete examples. One area where Ethereum is already making waves is in the world of finance.
Okay, so we're talking DeFi.
Yeah, things like decentralized exchanges, where you can trade crypto directly with other users without going through a traditional bank or broker.
So I could just swap tokens with someone on the blockchain.
Exactly. And because it's all based on smart contracts, the whole process is automated and transparent.
So no more shady middlemen.
Exactly. It gives users more control over their finances.
That's pretty revolutionary.
And it's not just limited to trading. There are also decentralized lending platforms where you can borrow and lend money directly with others.
So like peer-to-peer lending, but on the blockchain.
Exactly.
That's amazing. It could really open up financial access for a lot of people.
It has the potential to. And beyond finance, Ethereum is also being used for things like supply chain management.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that.
You can use it to track goods as they move around the world, ensuring that products are authentic and reducing fraud.
So like those ads where they talk about tracking your coffee beans.
Exactly. And then there are NFTs, which we touched on before.
Right.
They have so much potential in so many areas.
Like verifying artwork and collectible.
Exactly. And it goes way beyond art. NFTs can represent ownership of any digital asset.
So it's like we're finally able to own things on the internet, just like we own things in the real world.
Exactly. And I think this is just the beginning. As the technology evolves, we're going to see even more innovative uses for Ethereum.
It's exciting, but also a little overwhelming to think about how all of this might change things.
I get it. It's a lot to wrap your head around. But I think it's important to remember that Ethereum is ultimately a tool.
And like any tool, it can be used for good or bad.
Right. It's up to us to decide how we use it to shape its future.
And that's why these conversations are so important, to help people understand the potential and the risks.
Exactly.
Well, I think you've done a fantastic job of explaining all of that. This has been a truly insightful deep dive into Ethereum.
Thanks. I've enjoyed it.
So as we wrap up this whole episode on Ethereum, what's the one big takeaway you want listeners to remember?
That's a tough one. But I think I'd say this. Ethereum is more than just a cryptocurrency. It's a platform for innovation, a catalyst for change, and a window into a future where technology can empower us.
That's a great way to put it. Thanks again for joining us.
It was my pleasure.
And so all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Ethereum. We hope you learned something new, and we encourage you to keep exploring the world of blockchain. Until next time, stay curious,